When I booked my recent trip to Iceland, I decided that my flight back from Reykjavik to the US was going to be on Icelandair. And today we're going to talk about that experience and what all it entailed and my thoughts on it and what I think of Icelandair going forward. But I will say, first off, right away, I'm glad that I did it. And it was a great experience. But we're going to dive in now to talk about everything. I'm going to be referring to some screenshots that I'll include in the video here because I don't remember all the numbers. So I apologize ahead of time for not looking at the camera the entire time. So we have to go back. We have to go back in time to October. So I know a lot of you knew or know that I was going to go in October of last year, but ended up not going because the weather was going to be bad, and the weather was bad, and a lot of roads were closed. And they take road closures and or travel advisories seriously there in Iceland. So like if you get stuck and they have to come rescue you, you're paying for the cost of the rescue. So I decided that I was not going to go and just sit in a hotel room for days because of the weather. So I canceled it all, as you all know, and uh, rebooked. Actually, I rebooked everything for January. So January of this year, I was going to go right after New Year's, and I ended up not going. Also, how kind of the weather, but also too, Icelandair actually ended up canceling my flight, or they actually ended up rebooking me for when I was going to be there for like 3 days later, which I wasn't planning on. So it was going to be like really inconvenient for me to do that or accept that rebooking. And that time of year, there's no one's flying to Iceland except for basically Icelandair. So I ended up just saying, well, that doesn't work for me. I can't do that. Now you're expecting me to stay there for 3 more days. So they actually ended up issuing me a voucher for my flight because of the cancellation on their end. So fast forward to the end of April here, or beginning of May. I was going to Iceland anyway because I was going for Eve Fan Fest, but also to be a tourist for a few days. So I was going just this last week, regardless. So I ended up using that voucher to book my flight back to the States from Reykjavik. And so just to show you here, here's a snapshot of the email that they sent me. And as you can see here, that's the certificate they issued me for the cancellation, which was $450. So when I booked the flight via Icelandair, I actually, as you can see here, the screenshot of, so I paid part of the flight with 365.21 and the voucher was 450. So you're probably asking yourself, well, what are you paying for? So I actually flew Icelandair's, they call it premium or saga, they call it saga premium seat, which basically is the equivalent of Delta's premium select seat. And this is the seat where you can lay back, at a up to a 45-degree angle. You have a lot of room to maneuver in and to sit around in. And and I decided to go with that product because I'm not sitting in an economy for 6 hours. So um, I was more than willing to pay a little bit out of pocket extra for the seat. So I am so glad that I did because the experience was awesome. Uh, as you can see here, and I'm throwing up some photos now. I got a few snapshots of the seat. The seat was nice and big and spacious. As you can see there too, they give you a pillow and a blanket and a little amenity kit there as well. And you know, I got seated, and there's a bottle of Icelandic water, which is the water of Iceland. So it was nice to sit down and open that bottle up and sip some of the great water from there as they're boarding the plane and whatnot. The uh, flight attendants right away came up and gave me a glass of champagne, as you can see here. So that was a nice touch as well. The flight attendants were very attentive and they were very on it the entire time. So I really loved that experience as well. They were super nice. Also, too, they came along as soon as the flight was up in the air. They came along and were pouring us wine, as well as a little thing of snack crackers and whatnot, which was a nice touch. The crackers were pretty good. The wine was really good. Um, and as you can see here too, here's the Amenity kit that I'm holding. I didn't open it up. I actually stuck it in my backpack and brought it home with me. Um, so that was a nice touch as well. The pillow was nice and soft. I didn't really use the blanket at all, but it was some nice touches. And as you can see, also too, there was plenty of room for my legs. It was very comfortable. And then they were doing food service. There were a few options, and I meant to snap a picture of the menu, but I didn't get a chance. But I actually, as you can see here, I had a very light meal. I had the croissant here with some ham and some vegetables and some cream and whatnot, and the little dish was some skyr, which is yogurt, as well as some shaved nuts and whatnot. And so it was a really good experience. The food was really good. I tend to eat light on flights. I try to. I don't eat very heavy. I don't drink a lot on flights either. I don't pound a lot of water or drink a lot either, because I would rather not use the bathroom on the plane. So I tend to eat and drink pretty light. And this was like the perfect meal, because I knew it would tide me over to when we got into Boston, because I had like a 4-hour layover there, and went to the Sky Club to hang out and actually eat a heavier meal, because it was midday and whatnot, and I knew that by the time I got home back to Kansas City, it was going to be a late evening, and I wasn't going to eat anything. So I ate a pretty decent meal at the Sky Club in Boston. The plane itself was nice and bright. I really enjoyed that. It was very airy. It was very open. It was a Max 8 aircraft, and it was just a super experience flying on this plane. And like I said, the ambiance and the service and everything was so good. And I'm very glad that I had this experience. I'm a fan of Icelandair, and I will be flying Icelandair more. And probably when I go back to Iceland here in September, early October, early October, Icelandair is going to be part of that itinerary again. It was just a super experience, and I highly recommend their service. And if you're paying cash for their premium Saga, the Saga premium seat gets you access to the Saga lounge in Keflavik Airport, which is Reykjavik's airport, and that's going to be in another video that I do later this week. So the lounge experience was just amazing. It was fantastic. So um, watch out for that video as well. And so the cost of the seat, I will gladly, for that seat, is about half the cost of flying like Delta or any other airline for their comparable, premium economy seat. Like, it's like half the price. So if you're having to pay cash, to me, it is a great option if you're going to be either going to Iceland, or it's also an airline that will get you to Europe. It is another option. You can lay over at Keflavik for however many hours you need to, and then they have so many flights into Europe. So it is another option too. And flying that seat was just amazing. So I highly recommend. It gets 2 thumbs up from this guy. What do you all think about this? Let's talk about it in the comment section below. I'm really curious to hear what you all have to say. Also, too, I am making the march toward 1,000 subscribers. If you have not already done so and you enjoyed this content, could you please click the subscribe button? It is a free way to support the channel, and it gets my channel visible to more folks just like yourself. I thank you ahead of time for doing that. Also, too, I do have a channel membership right now. It's $1.99 a month. You can cancel anytime. What I'm doing right now is I'm doing members only videos, and these are videos that contain spicier content that I really don't want out to the general public, and those will remain paywalled. So you have that. That's what I'm doing at least right now for my members. I'm coming up with a few other things that I can do as well. We'll talk about that later on. But anyway, if you could do me a big favor and please be good to each other and respect each other. And until next time, bye for now.